with movie extraordinaire Alan Sprenkel. What's up?
Pretty decent. Saw a couple interesting things over the Christmas period.
What'd you watch?
Right off the bat, went and saw Anchorman 2. The way I look at it, not as good as the first one because it's a little more sporadic, for lack of a better word, but there were times when I was seeing that thing that I was falling out of my chair. I was laughing so hard, especially when they choose to top themselves with the battle of the news networks. Remember from the first movie, they had the gang fight in the back alley.
Right.
Originally, there were 5 different news groups. I think in this one, there's like 9 or 10 of them, including Harrison Ford, who's playing kind of like Tom Brokaw, but he's a werewolf. The BBC shows up at one point, the History Channel, complete with the ghost of Stonewall Jackson.
Right.
I mean, it's completely out there, but it's a lot of fun. Very, very good time.
I saw a review from Stan Atkinson, who said it might have been a little raunchy.
Oh, well, it's Anchorman. Does that surprise you in any way, shape, or form? And the thing, the only thing that's more fun than seeing the movie is actually seeing some of the product tie-ins they came up with for it. Okay. And I'm still trying to find this one, but Ben & Jerry's came out with a special flavor as a promotion with the movie called Scotchity Scotch. So I'm still trying to find that one. Okay. But if you've seen either of the movies, that's one of the Will Ferrell jokes in the beginning where he's kind of warming up his voice at the beginning of the first movie, and he's just sipping scotch going, I love scotch, 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 going on down into my belly.
Do we get to see Veronica Corningstone?
Oh yeah, the entire cast is back on this movie, and surprisingly enough, most of the story actually revolves around Brick, Steve Carell's character, because he actually finds someone that he falls in love with, and that's just over the top good.
Yeah, I think I was 13 when Christina Applegate came on the scene.
But like I said, very, very fun movie. I had a blast with it. The other one that I had a lot of fun with, I'm probably going to be going back to see at least one more time just to catch everything else in it, is the second Hobbit movie, which is a Desolation of Smaug. Very good movie. I mean, Lord of the Rings is the top pantheon of geekdom, and I know a fair amount about different things, different geekdoms. You have to remember.
I've never heard of geekdom.
Yeah, you have to remember. My brother failed Spanish in high school, but to this day he is fluent in Klingon. So I have kind of been bred around different kinds of geek fandoms, and Lord of the Rings is definitely up there, but seeing what Peter Jackson has been able to do with this second Hobbit film is really, really nice, and sets up a very good conclusion to the trilogy, which we're going to get this time next year. And that being said, when the original Lord of the Rings trilogy came out, no one had ever seen anything as far as computers generated special effects like what they were able to do with Gollum in the last 2 movies. It was amazing. And what they do with the dragon in this movie just dwarfs everything they have done in any of the special effects in any of the other films.
Do they chase the dragon?
Well, what they're trying to do is they're basically trying to break into a mountain. They make it into the mountain, and there's a dragon guarding a treasure, which is this really cool drawn out sequence of events. But the actor who voices the dragon is, I'm probably going to butcher his last name, but I believe his name is Benedict Cumberbatch. He's a very famous British actor who plays a lot of villains. And what they did with him was they did motion capture on him, just like they did with Avatar and what they did with Gollum, but then taking a person's facial expressions and doing the full motion capture, but then applying that to the face of a dragon. So just little things, like the way the eye movement and the way he smirks at certain lines, it all comes across in this digital creature that they made. It's really, really cool.
Do you find yourself, you went to school and you were taught animation, you got a degree, you get this and that. Do you find yourself when you watch a show or a movie, you're watching how they actually made it?
Oh, always. It's one of the things that kind of gets ingrained into you, but it doesn't so much take away from enjoying the movie as it does I appreciate some of the work that they go into. I mean, to this day, some of my absolute favorite movies to go back and watch if I'm kind of, just taking it easy one night, is I go back and I will watch old horror movies from the 1980s. because what they do today with computer generated effects, that is amazing. But if you go back to stuff in the late 70s, early 80s, and seeing some of the stuff they came up with a shoestring budget and no computers to do any of the effect work and all this practical special effects work, it is absolutely phenomenal to go and check out.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Friday the 13th series.
I actually prefer the Nightmare on Elm Street series, but again, that's because I like the practical special effects. And I'm sorry, I love seeing how much of a jerk Freddy can be every now and then. And it's absolutely hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, I've just been, just going back and revisiting a few of my favorite older films. Been watching a lot of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay.
Which is it's a TV series that ran in the 1990s, where the basic premise of it is you have a guy and two robots who are being forced to watch the worst movies ever made. And what they do is they show these guys in the movie theater, and you see the silhouettes in front of the movie of empty chairs, and then this guy and two robots. And as they're watching the movies, they are making peanut gallery jokes the entire time that they're watching it. So it's something that kind of encourages audience participation, especially if it's Christmas Eve and you're watching Mystery Science Theater 3000's take on Santa Conquers the Martians. And they find they did one where every so often the movie would be shorter than the 2 hours that the show ran. So they got a bunch of videos from the 1940s and 1950s from different state boards of tourism. And one of them was a video from Florida that showed this 5-year-old on water skis going through the Everglades. And while the robots just kind of, you see the mouth moving and everything, he goes, incentive to teach the kid how to stand up? Crocodiles! And they just shout out these jokes the whole time. It's irreverent, but it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like it.
But on that note, I think we need to go to a break.
Hey, let's do that. Let's run to an ad break. We'll be right back after we pay a couple bills.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.